Hi, Dave Jones here again with the next instalment in the music theory series for the guitar. Now, this time, if you're following on from the last sheet, this time we're on theory sheet, like the second sheet now. Again, PDF's up on the website. We're going to look at what's called the natural minor scale. Now, there's a natural minor scale, a harmonic minor scale, and a melodic minor scale. I'll go into the other two later on. This is the most used scale in pop rock music, is called the natural minor scale. Now, as discussed with the major scale, a certain pattern of tones and semitones occurs. This one's got a different step pattern. It goes tone, semitone, tone, tone, semitone, tone, tone. And just like the major scale, if you apply that to any of the notes that are in music, and you apply that step pattern, the tone being the 2 frets, or the whole step, I think I mentioned in the last video, and the semitone being 1 fret or half a step, you will get that natural minor scale, whichever note you start on. So if you start on A, you go up a tone, you get B, semitone, C, another tone, D, tone, E, semitone, F, tone, G, tone, A. And that note is A again at 12th fret, which is called an octave higher. The reason it's called an octave, because it's got 12 notes in between, the reason it's called an octave is because it's 8 scale notes higher. So if I played that minor scale here, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back to the A, 8 scale notes higher. Like I say, all these scales are up on the website, so I won't dwell on the scales. This is more of a sort of theory, understanding it, playing on the guitar. So if you apply that to the A note, go up that step pattern, you'll get the notes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the octave note back to A again. So, as in the major scale, I've put on this sheet, I don't think I mentioned it in the major scale, but if you're following these lessons, each of these notes has what's called a degree of the scale. So in the major scale, the first scale we looked at was C major, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And the degrees of that scale are C's 1, D's 2, E's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the degrees of the major scale are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The difference with the natural minor scale is the degrees go, and this is written on the PDF, 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and then 8. So 3 of the notes are called flat, the flat degrees of the notes. They're reduced by a semitone, and that's what gives the natural minor scale its the step pattern of tone, semitone gives it a sad, a more solemn sound. But we'll go into that later on with the chord construction, which will be in a later lesson. So, like I say, if you apply that pattern to the A, you'll get A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. If you apply the same step pattern to the note E, you will get the E natural minor scale, and that will give you E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. So, again, we're calling the note F sharp because there's already an E and a G in there, and we can't call it G flat. We've got to have the F in there, F sharp. And then if we applied that to the note B, we will get B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. You can do this along one string, or you can learn the scale shapes. Like I say, they're up on the site. I won't waste your time showing you the scales in this particular one. And if we applied it to the note D, we'd get D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D. So again, we're calling the note B flat because we've already got an A in it and we've already got a C in it, therefore it has to be called B flat, not C sharp. So you apply this step pattern and you'll get these scales. Now, if you're looking at the sheet, I've written at the bottom the minor scales that I've just mentioned, the natural minor scale of A, E, B and D. They contain exactly the same notes as the major scales we looked at in the previous lesson. So the A minor, the A natural minor scale, contains exactly the same notes as the C major scale. In other words, no sharps and no flats in it. The E natural minor scale contains exactly the same notes as the G major scale. It's got an F sharp in it, and all the other notes are what's called the natural notes. So E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E. And the B minor scale, B natural minor scale, contains exactly the same notes as the D major scale. So it's got the C sharp and the F sharp in it. So we go B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B. And the D natural minor scale contains exactly the same notes as the F major scale. In other words, it's got a B flat in it, so it goes D, E, F, G, A, B flat, C, D. So the reason that happens is because every major scale has a relative minor scale. Okay, yeah, so every single major scale has what's called a relative minor scale, and vice versa. Every minor scale, natural minor scale, has got a relative major scale. And the reason they're called relative is because they contain exactly the same notes as each other. It's just that they're built on a different step pattern. So if I played a C major scale from C to C again, I've played exactly the same notes as are contained within the A natural minor scale, but it sounds different because of the step pattern of tone, tone, semitone, tone, 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 semitone. So the tones and semitones are in different places. So the C major scale sounds quite happy to me, and the A natural minor scale sounds totally different. It's got a much more solemn feel to it. It's got the same notes in, but they relate to each other in a different manner. So you've got, like in the major scale, you've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and in the natural minor scale, you've got 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, and the 8. And later on in later videos, when we discussed how chords are made up of these scales, they generate a bunch of chords, the same chords actually in the natural minor and the relative major scale, but they sound different and they give a different tonality and sound and feel to a piece of music. And it's the chords eventually, as we come on to them, it's the chords that give you the tonality. If I played the notes, like starting out from an A natural minor scale over a piece of music in C major, it would fit absolutely perfectly. It wouldn't sound minory anymore because the harmony would take over, and the major harmony would make the scale sound major, like an A minor chord, and some notes from the A minor scale. It sounds okay, but if I play a C major chord, played exactly the same notes, it sounds fine because it fits both ways. So this will be, it's quite difficult to take all this in at once, but this will be really useful later on. So again, the only reason I've covered just these minor scales is because of the chords we're going to generate in later lessons. I will cover all the minor scales, but so the scales to learn really as you're starting out is, just to recap on the two lessons, is the C major, G major, D major and F major, and their relative minors A natural minor, E natural minor, B natural minor and D natural minor. Just as a quickie, like I say, I was always intending to relate these lessons back to the guitar. If you ever want to find out a major note, say you're starting 8th fret E string C, if you ever want to find a relative minor, you go back 3 frets. So from the C at the 8th fret, you go back 1, 7, 6 to the 5. That note is A, that is C's, C major's relative minor, A minor, A natural minor. If you wanted to find out D, 10th fret, if you want to find out D's relative minor, you go back 3 frets, so from 10 you go 9, 8, 7. B natural minor is D's relative major, and equally it works the other way. If you're on a minor key and you want to find out its relative major, from A up 3 frets, you go up to find the major to the 8th fret, and that will give you the relative major. So I hope you found that useful, and I'll move on to the next session, which would be on pentatonic scales, which are very useful for the guitarist. And I'll see you again sometime.